So I thought about this answer, and I've thought about it over time. It really comes back to a desire to make our community better. And throughout my 2 decades of being involved in Vincennes and Knox County, that desire to make it better tomorrow than it is today is why I want to do this, and why I chose to do it in the first place. Whether it was being involved at the Chamber, whether it was being involved on the RDC for almost 20 years, or at Pace Community Action Agency on the board there, that idea to make it better for myself, my family, my kid. I know that's selfish, it sounds like, but if I do that, I make it better for everyone else, and that's the goal. You want better places to walk, better streets to drive on. You want better trained police and fire and street department people to make your community more safe and more accessible to everyone in general. So one of the things that I think you'll hear other elected officials or even candidates talk about is housing over time. And that answer is not surprising to you, but I think that answer is a little more nuanced than just housing. If you look at our population stats over the last 10 years, we've dropped considerably in population, and that comes from a number of things. Over time is the reason why we've dropped, and we can't get it back with just housing. Housing's a key component of that, don't get me wrong, but other things matter just as much. We talk about, there's multiple studies that show, so I'm going to go dive into this. We used to do economic development by building a big factory, and there would be jobs and people would come. Well, that model doesn't work like it used to. How we need to increase and create population growth is people come, and then businesses follow them because that's where the workers are. So how do you get people? You create better amenities, better parks, improve the schools, and offer opportunities for adult continuing education, offer good health care, better trails, those kind of things, the amenities that people want in their community, activities. Then, businesses follow, but also housing is that big outcrop of that, is those people have to have a place to live. So if we do it all at the same time, that's great, but sometimes it is a measured approach, one by one, and housing's a key component of that. So I think you're going to see a lot of people talk about that, but I think that certainly it is more nuanced than just housing. There's a broader approach that is being taken behind the scenes to make sure that housing, those people are here to fill those houses. It's a tough question. It's a simple question, but it's a tough question. I think in general, if you want somebody who's experienced in economic development and community development, both just not only in Knox County, but throughout Southwest Indiana, a person with a desire to make the community better. And I say that, just experience in events, whether it's, I think you guys have seen me be a part of the Christmas Stroll Parade for 20 years, or announcing the 4th of July Parade, simple stuff like that really mean a lot to our community, all the way to doing big road projects or sanitary sewer projects that matter in this community. Levee project the RDC was involved in. Those are the reasons, that experience, that knowledge, I think you should always look for a candidate that has that ability to come to the table and bring those things. No, what I do want to add, I guess there is something. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for allowing us to present ourselves. Thanks to the citizens and the residents of Knox County and Vincennes that have allowed me to do my job over the last few years the way I have, and allow us to make mistakes, allow us to grow, allow us to be better, and for that support, I'm very, very much appreciative.
Well, there's a number of reasons. One is my career at the fire department is getting ready to come to an end. You know, I'm maxed out as far as my time there. You know, I've been there 32 years, and I think it's time to go. The body tells me it's time to go, but I'm just not ready to quit doing what I can do to help the community. You know, I've touched a lot of lives in 32 years, whether it was on medical runs or simply helping somebody pick them up, put them back to bed in the middle of the night. And you know, you feel good at the end of the day about what you've done for people, and I think I can still feel like that doing it, you know, being on the council. I don't know that there's anything special, but you know, I mean, there's a couple of things that do come to mind, and you know, when I say this, I'm sure it's already being looked at, but I'd like to do my part of helping with it and do some leg work. And you know, it'd be public transportation, I think, is important. You know, I think everybody knows we have an increase in the homeless population in Vincennes. You know, affordable daycare, and again, I think that's all being looked at, but I would like to be part of it just to do my part of solving those issues. Well, I think anybody that knows me knows that I don't make quick decisions. You know, I'll study it and study it and study it before I pull the trigger on it, one way or the other. And, you know, I've told people, I said, you know, number one is loyalty and honesty. And if you come to me and you have a question, I can promise that I'll find you an answer, but it may not be the answer you want, but you're going to get the answer. I'm not going to just leave you hanging and say I'll get back and you'll never hear again. That's just not me. That's not the way I am. Yeah, you know, I just think it's important to tell everybody, you know, they need to get out and vote, and you know, remember, you know, vote for the person, not the party. You know, just be sure and do your part and vote.
Well, again, the city is in a movement now. We got some good things going on, and some people ask me questions that are really on the mayor's side. As a council member, we deal with funding, and some of the things that I did when I was on the fire department, I worked on grants. I worked on obtaining, as an example, the rescue boats here in the city of Vincennes. That we didn't have any for many years. So those aspects in the public safety side I have really concentrated on. But during that process, I saw a lot of things going on, everything from drainage, the schools, the parks. So I've always tried to stay involved, and sometimes in the background of public safety, we're in all these buildings, and we see the highways and the cities the city here in Vincennes, the streets. So I think there's a need to bring maybe a fresh idea onto that. I'm currently a special deputy on the sheriff's department, so I think I might bring something kind of unique as a council member on the public safety side, which I fully support the public safety. We now have the TIF funding, which is basically moved some money from the budgets. Now we can spend some of that money that was saved through TIF onto other projects, the parks, the dog port, things like that. Well, they kind of blend together in some ways. I did a walking campaign throughout the city. Running at large is the entire city, and people don't realize that we have small neighborhoods within our community here. And it seemed like there were the same things that came up. One was about the kids. There's nothing to do for kids. And I mentioned to people, I said, we have a good park system. It can be better, but it all boils down to money. Roads. Roads are another thing that people complain about, and it all takes, again, back to that word money to be able to pave new areas. curbing, sidewalks. I did talk to a lady one day, and she said that she has a ramp, and to get out to her vehicle down that ramp is gravel. She has no curbs, no sidewalks. So those are some issues that have seemed to go on for years and years and years. Again, it takes a lot of money to be able to pave and to be able to do these things right. The Washington Avenue project right now appears to be answering some of that. They're taking it down to the base and working from there. That's a lot of money here for Vincennes. Again, back to the state funding, federal funding, I'm going to work hard at trying to find new money sources to come into Vincennes. I believe maybe on some of the issues we can move some monies around that will fill the gaps. Well, I would only be one vote, but I think I'm going to bring a different voice onto the council itself. I've not been one to have been told no too many times, and don't get me wrong, I don't have all the answers, but I think sometimes you need to build a group of people and sit down and talk about things. Not one politician can get it done by himself. So over the many years at the fire department, I worked as a team. As a battalion chief, I at times had the entire city under my control and protection. So that had taught me a lot about working with not only the fire department, but working with police agencies, working with the federal government, FEMA, the local EMA. So there's all these agencies that are in and around Vincennes that we may have to communicate with and work with. And getting that funding is the key issue. We need to talk to our state representatives more in Indianapolis and address some issues with them to let them know that we're here. Well, I could go on and on for a long time. Again, if I was fortunate enough to have the citizens of Vincennes put me in a position to help them, I would definitely work hard at doing that. A lot of the areas that we have are pretty common, and I think the other council members and the mayor, they recognize this. Again, a fresh voice on the council might be another avenue that we can rely upon me to work out some problems. I'll always be available if somebody wants to contact me. For those who don't know me, please contact me and let me know what's going on. That's the only way that we can gain this information to look at the particular problems that we have. I know, like with the parks, they have some major issues coming up, and we're going to have to identify what those are and find that funding resource. Again, as a council member, it takes money, and I know when I was on the fire department dealing with about a $2 million budget, we had to be very frugal, and we had to plan that out in advance, the things that we were going to get, and even just the equipment. So trying to maintain those. The street department is a quick example. They've only got like 15 employees, so they get a lot done, and those employees deserve a hand along with the pet port employees. There's a lot going on in Vincennes, and sometimes the resources are not all there. So they try, and they try the hardest. I know I've talked to most of them and met with them over the years, and I'm hoping to open that avenue up also to the citizens of Vincennes so they can come to meetings, and we've got to get out and vote. We've got to get out and have those voices heard and come to the council meetings. It's the people's chamber, so to speak, is the council chambers. It's not the politicians, it is the people's chamber. So come and let us know what's going on and talk to us and inform us. What would I like to see? I would like to see Vincennes prosper. There's a lot of good people in Vincennes who want to help, who want to get out. Not one or two or 7 members of the council can get this done by themselves. So let us know what's going on, and that old word volunteer really goes a long way anymore.